In this next part of building our adventure game using arrays, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping first, just to clean things up. So we do have some redundancies in the code where we're marking our output and map location is gray. So I mean, really, what those are doing is they're calling display, because then we're marking this, and then we're going to mark the map location gray. So what we really should do is just simply call display right here. But if we do that, so those, we'll just comment those out for now. And then game message will have to happen first because display is here, but game message is being defined after. See, we can see display wants to use game message. So that's an easy enough option. We just move that up to here. So now let's save this, jump over here. Looks the same, but now our code is a little bit cleaned up so we don't have redundancies of information. The next thing that I want to do is I want to take the backpack stuff here, we're going to move it. So I'm going to move it from there and we will put it up here. And I'm just going to do a little bit of beautify to clean up my indents. So I've set a keyboard shortcut for it using the beautify plugin, and then I assigned a keystroke to it so that it works effectively for me. So now we have the backpack contents up here, and we're just going to add that into our mix here so that we will be putting it. So after game message, once more, we'll just do another break, and then I will throw in my wrong arrow key. Let's try that again. Backpack contents. There we go. So then that puts all of that in. Let's take a look and see. So you're on the path. My backpack contains. Now we have submit. So we've now kind of cleaned things up a little bit. And since we're no longer using that out there, we'll get rid of it. So we've removed the redundancies. We've cleaned things up. So this process of reorganizing our code and simplifying it and making it more efficient is the process of refactoring. And this is a normal part that you write your code, and because you're doing it through iterative coding, so you're adding little bits and building iterations where you just keep expanding upon what you have, starting simple, proving it works, and adding in more and more parts. Refactoring is a standard and normal part of the process. Rarely do you plan out every nook and cranny, bit and piece, function and variable of your code before you write anything. You could program that way, but especially when you're learning to code, it's hard to think about all those things that you would need. The more advanced you get, the more you can kind of come up with that plan ahead of time and get further along before you do start doing more iterations. But right now, keep it simple, prove it works, which is what we've done. We've cleaned it up. I'm going to eliminate these two because we don't really need those there. I'm just trying to clean things up a little bit. Now, the problem we left on in the last video was that I was able to move off of my map. I was able to go too far. And what we really want to be able to do is we want to verify our location and not move beyond it if we're too far in any one direction. So after we've verified our action that we're going to take, west, then before I actually update my map location, what I really want to do is I want to say if my map location, so if we're trying to go west, we can see our values are 0, 3, and 6. So if my location is 0, I don't want to go west. If it's 3, I don't want to go west. If it's 6, I don't want to go west. So it'd be nice if we could come up with a way of structuring that. Now, let's go to north. So right now, if the map location is greater than or equal to 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then we can subtract 3 from it and go. So that's going to be a little bit easier to work with. So we'll come back to that one. But if I go here and say if map location is greater than or equal to 3, then at that point, that's when I want to move over. So if my location is greater than 3, then I can go north. And right now, then I will just put a else. And now and say game message is equal to cannot move in that direction. Later, we're going to come up with some messages that are specific to each cell on the map so that it's a more interesting experience, because cannot move in that direction, well, that's kind of lame. That's kind of a boring way of putting it, but we'll leave it right there. So let's just verify north is working here. So north, we moved up, north. Now we see cannot move in that direction. Okay. All right, so that's working. So if that works for north, south is probably going to be about the same. So I'm just going to copy paste this, but we're going to change the values. Remember, moving north we use minus, moving south it's plus, so we'll have to remember that when we update and paste that here. So we'll go ahead and immediately change that to a plus. But now let's figure out. So when we're at 5, we can add 3 to it to get to 8. So anything less than 6 means we can go south, because 6, 7, or 8, we can't. So instead of that, we can say less than 6. So anything less than 6, we can go south. So let's try this again. South, south, cannot move in that direction. All right, so those two are working. Those were the easies. But 0, 3, 6, 2, 5, 8. That gets a little bit harder. So what we're trying to find is an equation that works based on a cycle as we go through that. And fortunately, there is an option available to us. And what we're able to do is we can use what is called the Modulus math operation. So we're doing simple math where we're doing division, but instead of keeping the value, what we care about is the remainder. So we're checking the remainder that happens when we do that division. So I've written a little piece of code here that looks uglier than it is, but when we look at what it logs out, it's going to be a little bit easier to see. So for each one of my map values, 0 through 8, if I divide it by 3, it gives me a value. 0 divided by 3 is 0, remainder of 0. 1 divided by 3 is 0, remainder of 1. 2 divided by 3 is 0, remainder of 2. So we're going back to elementary school math dealing with remainders. So we're not doing decimals, we're not doing fractions, we're doing remainders. So this is one of those rare occasions in life where when you're asked, when am I ever going to use this? this is that time with that math. Now we can see 3 divided by 3 gives, 3 goes into 3 one time, there's no remainder. 6 divided by 3, well, 3 goes into it 2 times, remainder of 0. So what you will notice here is this pattern, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. Now if we look at where those are occurring, so we can see 0 divided by 3 is remainder of 0. 3 divided by 3 is 1 remainder of 0. And 6 divided by 3 is 2 remainder of 0. So we don't want to be able to go west in this case when the value is, so when we perform this math operation, so we take our map location and divide it by 3. And if the remainder is 0, we don't want to be able to go west. So the way that we can write that is if map location, and we do the modulus math using the percent symbol. So modulus 3. So if that is not equal to 0, then I'm going to just pull this up, our map location. So when it's not equal to 0, that is when we are allowed to go west. So anytime we divide our map location by 3, if it's 0, we don't want to go west. But any other time, so the zeros, 0, 3, and 6, we don't want to go west. Every other option, that's when we can go west. So let's finish this out, else game, game message is equal to, and this time I'll just say cannot go northwest. I looked to the line below when I was typing it, and I'm going to actually just update each of these. Cannot move north, cannot move south, and now east, going to be doing the same kind of thing. So I'm going to just copy this. So notice east, so while west is -1, east is +1. So now we go here and paste that, change this to a plus before we get to do anything else. Cannot go east. But this time, when we're trying to go east, it's based on 2, 5, and 8. So 2, there's a 2. 5, there is a 2. 8, there is a 2. So 2, 5, and 8, it's the remainder of 2 that we care about. So previously when we said when it's not equal to 2, this time we're going to, or 0, this time we'll say when it's not equal to 2, then we can go, otherwise we cannot go east. Let's save this. And if I go west, west, cannot go west. North, north, cannot move north. East, 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 cannot go east. South, 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 cannot move south. So we've now blocked our directions. So this is a good step moving forward because now we've contained the player to the game. We're no longer getting error messages. In our next phase, we're going to look at how we can have messages correspond to the cell that I'm in so that it makes it a more immersive experience.